We are 2 days out from Arkansas baseball season, something that doesn't get me angry like this morning. James Teague, our friend at Teague Law Firm, now joins us in our opening drive this morning. James, again, there's been a change in college athletics since July of 2021. And I know there was disputes back in the clubhouse and the locker room when you were playing at Arkansas over various other things. But just how much more combative do you think it is today? I'm obviously fired up this morning. What do you think it's like in the locker room, especially during losing streaks and guys going at each other over money and stuff like that?
Yeah, Ty, we're going to have to get the blood pressure cuff on you this morning. You're a little fired up over there, but I like it.
Yeah,
let's put it around his mouth.
A muzzle. I need a muzzle.
Yeah, I mean, I think most of the guys are just trying to get on the field, and once they get on the field, they're trying to play good, at least how it was when I was there. I think now you've got, obviously, the dynamic of money being involved in kids who probably have never seen the amounts of money that they're dealing with, and also parents who are now kind of quasi-agents for kids because they see their kids with the opportunity to make a lot of money. And I've had conversations with some of the coaching staff about, I love recruiting, but I deal with so many parent agents now, it's exhausting. So, I mean, I don't know that it's better or worse. I think it's better in some ways, worse in other ways. But finding, the right balance to where it's going to be an overall better situation. I don't know how you find that. I think that's to be determined.
Well, your dad obviously has the law background for a number of years, so he could be someone that you could have actually entrusted during this whole new different saga, which is college athletics. But like you referred to, I mean, there's a lot of people that don't necessarily know the ins and outs of contracts and everything else, and I can't help but think that's not going to be a benefit for kids, whether they're getting screwed out of less money or they're not reading their contracts entirely. It's just kind of a situation where the NFL, MLB, NBA, they have not authorized agents, and that's not the way it is in college athletics at all.
Yeah, I mean, we even entertained the idea over here of trying to get an agency license and kind of going into that market. But I mean, ultimately, it's not something that we had done, just because it seems like there is a bit of a need from a bargaining power standpoint to say, you've got these schools and all these collectives that have all of this money and all this power, and then you've got maybe some kid from a small town who you flash a check in front of his eyes, and what are the stipulations, what are the requirements, X, Y, Z. We'll figure all that out later. Where do I sign? Kind of deal.
James Teague with us here on the Morning Rush. It's our opening drive brought to you by First Financial Mortgage. All right, what are the important things this opening weekend? Obviously, weather's going to play a factor in some of this four-game series with Washington State. But, James, as you watch with the trained eye, is it how the starting pitching performs? Is it the defense? What are the most important things you're looking for this weekend?
I personally put very little stock in the start of the season, just because, number one, for me, weather out of the bullpen was always a huge factor, or starting. A lot of people are, they get real excited at the start and they kind of get let down. It's a real roller coaster. I think the beginning is not super important. I think you want to get some young guys some experience, get some transfers some experience. Let's try to get some depth out of the starting rotation. Hitters just trying to get their feels. Obviously, you need to win games for your overall record, and you don't want to drop series at home, especially an opening series to what is a lesser program. But I think the stock that gets put into some of these early games, in my opinion, has been a little too much in the past. And, this team with a lot of new pieces need to kind of find their rhythm and get into playing mode, which is it's just going to happen. It's inevitable as the season progresses. But, how do we win, get the experience, and move on without really thinking too much else about it?
Our guy Colton had brought this thought up yesterday as we were discussing baseball, and I thought it was very an interesting line of thought that, you've had Kevin Kopps, who you kind of relied on him, was the center of your pitching staff, and, you had Hagen Smith. Is it important, or would it be beneficial to this team to maybe not have the one guy that everyone looks to, that you put the pressure completely on him? Would this team be better off with a more balanced approach from their starting pitching?
I mean, I think in a perfect world, yes. But if you've got a guy on Friday who can go out and get you a lot of wins, more wins than not, it has a huge impact on your bullpen, because if you can lock offenses down on Friday and you're able to get to their Friday guy or score some runs, and maybe you don't have to use your best arm out of the bullpen, or, you only have to use them for a limited amount of time, or you go set up guy and then closer and you win Friday, that completely opens up your entire weekend. When you have an unreliable ace and he's out, maybe some games, some weekends he goes 5, maybe some weekends he goes 2, you've now kind of opened up a whole can of worms of, okay, how are we going to try to get through this game and finish it, and then what are the implications of our bullpen going forward? So I think as far as stringing together consistent weekends where you can win on Friday, you need that dominant arm, and then you really just need 2 other guys, in my opinion, that give you different looks Saturday, Sunday, that can give you some depth with giving up minimal runs. You don't need 3 aces. You need guys who can give you depth, and you need to win on Fridays. That's the winning formula, in my opinion.
James Teague with us, Teague Law Firm, former Hog pitcher. James, is Gackle that guy? I mean, we've seen Blaine Knight, Isaiah Campbell recently. Think about Kevin Kopps, Hagen Smith. I mean, does Gackle have the tools as a true sophomore to kind of emerge in that role this year?
I think he's definitely got the tools. I think he showed it last year. At times he could go for length. He wasn't just a closer. I know that was primarily his role. But, that's kind of the formula, I think, for DVH is get a young guy who can throw multiple days out of the pen, stretch him out over a period of time. He's going to make his money as a starter, try to get him in that starting role to see if he can do what he did out of the bullpen as a starter his sophomore year and then be a dominant ace kind of his junior year. That's the formula. Does it work out that way? That's to be determined. But I think for him, he's got the stuff and he's got kind of the composure. It's just finding that rhythm to go deep in games as a starter, which I know that he's been preparing and is well equipped to do, in my opinion.
James, you kind of heard my beef coming in. It is a What's Your Beef Wednesday. Do you have anything that's kind of hacked you off lately? I know there's always something crazy going on in a courtroom, something you can't reveal, obviously. But is there anything that's kind of driven you up a wall lately?
I got plenty of stuff. I got plenty of stuff. I got this big hook going on in my golf game right now that I've been trying to work on. I mean, I got more YouTube videos pulled up on my tabs right now than you can imagine. And maybe I just need to go get a lesson. But yeah, that's the new internal batter for me. I don't get to try to figure out mechanics and throwing hard and getting people out. I got to find something else to compete in that's not work related. So I'm transitioning into the wannabe golf pro.
Man, I feel you. And golf, you can get into just about as much data and analytics if you get on a simulator like up at Cart Path Social, or a lot of people are putting those in at their house. Face to path, launch angle, spin rates. I mean, ball speed. I mean, we talk about a lot of these things in pitching that have become part of the lab with Matt Hobbs. Dude, golf can be just about as analytical as anything.
Oh yeah. You start looking at what shaft do I need? The shaft, where's the flex in the shaft? Where's the release point? Do I need to get it 2 degrees flat? This, that, and the other. I'm working through all that now. It's a process.
The game you could never conquer.
2 phrases: play the slice, grip it and rip it. That's my.
I got you as a big slice guy. That's my read.
Yeah. Well, no, it's funny. James and I were talking about a couple weeks ago, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm just not as good as my friends." And I was like, "Well, what's your handicap?" And he's like, "A 4 or 5." And it was friends are like near 0 or whatever. And then I'm like, "Well, I'm at 21." So I think we're in different categories. Hey,
he's not inviting you to the scramble.
No.
What he's
Tyler Spoon, he's my partner, so we got a lot of good golf matches coming up. So he's about a 0. I mean, he's a true scratch, so he's a good partner to have.
And daylight savings time is March 9th, and that means more golf after work coming up starting March 9th.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, hopefully that beef gets taken care of, James. Then you get the hook out of your game when it comes to these upcoming golf matches, scrambles, and whatever else is in your future. And hopefully we got a good opening weekend ahead for Arkansas baseball against Washington State.
Yeah, I'm excited. For me, I know we talked about this before. I like to tell people, hey, let's pump the brakes a little bit at the beginning. We got to figure out what recipe is going to work for this team, whether that means the combination of starters and bullpen guys, and then also what lineup is going to be best suited to score runs. Hopefully score runs in a way that's a little bit more dynamic with maybe some bunting, some hit runs, stealing, not so reliant on the long ball. But, DVH, I think he is, he's kind of like a cook. He tries the first batch, doesn't work, next batch doesn't work, and then by the time we get to conference play, what formula is going to get us the winning program? And I think that's what he's done time and time again. I think he'll do it again. So at the beginning, I'm not worried about it. We're going to figure it out.
BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting in 2025. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, BetOnline is your ultimate game day companion. With the largest selection of odds on everything from NBA and college basketball to the NHL and UFC, BetOnline continues to be your number one sports betting source. From every three-pointer to hat trick, BetOnline has you covered with odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, the game starts here.